She was eating dog food on the sidewalk, but a millionaire stopped and did the unthinkable. Michael Thompson was looking out the window of his 10th floor office when he saw something that made his breath catch. A small child, no more than 3 years old, was crouched on the sidewalk eating something from a metal bowl. He grabbed the binoculars he used to observe the city and focused on the scene. His eyes filled with tears when he realized what was happening. The little girl, with her curly, tangled hair, was eating dog food with her dirty little hands. Each piece was brought to her mouth with the focus of someone who didn't know when her next meal would come. "My God," Michael murmured, dropping everything on his desk. He ran down all 10 flights of stairs, not waiting for the elevator. When he reached the sidewalk, his heart sank even further. Little Emma, as he would later learn, was sitting on the hot pavement, her worn and stained clothes a stark contrast to the hurried pedestrians who walked by without even glancing her way. "Hi, little one," Michael said, crouching at a safe distance so as not to scare her. Emma looked up with her big brown eyes still chewing the dry kibble. There was an innocence in her gaze that broke the businessman's heart. "Are you hungry?" he asked softly. The girl nodded, clutching the bowl to her chest as if afraid someone might take it. "Where's your mommy?" Emma vaguely pointed. Down the street where a pile of cardboard and old blankets lay. Michael felt a lump in his throat. He stood and walked to the spot. There he found a young woman, no more than 25, lying on the cardboard, shaking with fever. Ma'am, are you okay?" The woman opened her eyes with difficulty. "My daughter, Emma. She's right there, she's okay. My name is Michael, you both need help. Please." Her voice was weak. "Don't let them take her. Promise? I promise. I'll help you both." Dear listener, if you're enjoying this story, take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now back to the story. Michael returned to Emma, who was still methodically eating the dog food. He took off his jacket and laid it on the ground beside her. "Can I sit here with you?" The girl eyed him warily but eventually nodded. Michael sat on the sidewalk, ignoring the curious glances of passers-by. A businessman in an expensive suit, sitting on the ground next to a homeless child wasn't a common sight in that busy part of New York City. "You know, when I was little," Michael began, "I went hungry too. Not as much as you, but I know how it hurts." Emma stopped eating for a moment, watching him with those big, expressive eyes. "How about we go get something tasty to eat? Pizza, hamburger, whatever you want." But before Emma could respond, a rough voice cut through the air. "Hey, what are you doing with that girl?" Michael turned and saw a tall, thin man in ragged clothes, his eyes full of suspicion. "Just talking," Michael replied, standing slowly. "That girl's none of your business, rich boy. Get lost. Her mother is sick back there. They need help." The man, who Michael would later learn was named Ray, took a threatening step forward. "I look after them. Don't need folks like you sticking your nose in." "You look after them?" Michael pointed at the bowl of dog food. "This is how you look after them. You do what you can when you live on the streets. Now scram before I call the others." Emma started crying, frightened by the argument. Michael realized the situation was more complicated than he'd thought. There was a hierarchy on the streets, unwritten rules he didn't understand. "All right, I'll go," Michael said. But before leaving, he whispered to Emma, "I'll come back, little one, I promise." He walked back to his building but couldn't get the image of the little girl eating dog food out of his head. At the office, he cancelled all his meetings for the day. "Jennifer," he called to his secretary, "I need you to research NGOs that work with the homeless in the area." "Anything specific, Mr. Thompson?" "A mother and daughter. The child is about 3 years old. They're on the corner." Jennifer, efficient as always, brought him a list within half an hour. Michael called several organizations, but the answers were discouraging. "Mr. Thompson, the situation is complex," explained the coordinator of one NGO. "We can't just take a child from her mother, even if they're homeless, and family shelters are full." "But the girl is eating dog food." "Unfortunately, that's not uncommon. We do what we can, but resources are limited." Michael hung up, frustrated. He decided to try a different approach. He returned to the street in the late afternoon. this time bringing bags of food, water and blankets. Emma's mother, who he learned was named Ashley, was doing slightly better, sitting against the wall. "Excuse me," Michael said as he approached. "I brought some things." Ashley looked at him suspiciously, but Emma's hungry cries spoke louder. She accepted the food. "Thank you," she murmured, giving her daughter a piece of bread. "May I ask how you ended up in this situation?" Ashley lowered her eyes. "It's a long story. I have time." She took a deep breath. "I worked as a cleaning assistant. When I got pregnant, Emma's father disappeared. I kept working until I couldn't anymore. After she was born, I lost my job because I had no one to leave her with. We were evicted 6 months ago." "What about your family?" "My father died when I was little. My mother, she told me I had to figure it out on my own when I told her about the pregnancy." Michael felt the weight of her story. "How many Ashleys were out there on the streets?" "Let me help. I can arrange a place for you to stay." "It's not that simple," Ray's voice chimed in again. "You think you can just snap your fingers and fix everything. And what's your solution?" "Let a child eat dog food. We survive however we can. At least here she has protection." "Protection?" Michael was indignant. "Yeah, protection. You don't know what street life is like. There are much worse people out there. Me and the others make sure nothing bad happens to them." Michael realized he had stepped into a world with its own rules and hierarchies. Ray, despite his rough appearance, seemed to genuinely care about Ashley and Emma. "What if I got Ashley a job and daycare for Emma?" Ray laughed bitterly. "You think it's that easy? She needs documents, an address, proper clothes, and who's going to hire someone who's lived on the streets?" "I will," Michael said firmly. "I own a company. I can hire her." Ashley looked up with a spark of hope, but Ray shook his head. "It's not that simple. She needs medical treatment, the girl needs follow-up care, and there's the trauma, the distrust. It's not just about giving her a job and calling it a day." Michael was beginning to understand the complexity of the situation. It wasn't just about money or good intentions. In the following weeks, Michael visited Ashley and Emma daily. He brought food, clothes, and tried to earn their trust. But every step forward seemed followed by 2 steps back. First, he discovered Ashley had lost all her documents. Without a state ID or social security number, it was impossible to get a formal job or rent a place. Michael offered to pay for replacements, but the process was complicated. Ashley couldn't remember the numbers, had no proof of address or witnesses. "Let's go to the courthouse," Michael suggested one day. But when they got there, Ashley had a panic attack. The formality of the place, the questions from the staff, it all made her nervous. "I can't," she cried. "They'll take Emma away from me." "No one is going to take your daughter," Michael Thompson tried to reassure her. "You don't understand. They always say that, and then Child Protective Services shows up." It was just another obstacle. The fear of losing her daughter was so overwhelming that Ashley preferred to stay on the streets rather than take the risk. Emma, meanwhile, had developed health problems due to poor nutrition. Michael took her to a private pediatrician, but the girl would scream in fear every time she saw someone in white. "It's trauma," the doctor explained. "She associates hospitals and clinics with bad things. She'll need time and patience." The medical examination revealed Emma had severe anemia and stunted growth. She would need constant nutritional monitoring and expensive medication. "I'll cover everything," Michael assured her. But it wasn't just about money. Ashley didn't trust medicine. She feared it might be drugs to sedate her daughter and make kidnapping easier. The paranoia from the streets had taken deep root. One day, Michael arrived and couldn't find mother and daughter in their usual spot. He panicked. "Where are they?" he asked Ray. "The police came early this morning, forced removal. They took everyone." Michael rushed to the police station, then to city shelters. Hours of desperate searching led him to a temporary holding center. "You can't go in," the guard said. "But I know them. I'm trying to help. You'll have to speak with the social worker." More red tape. The social worker was only available at specific times. When he finally got to speak with her, he learned Ashley and Emma were being transferred to a family shelter in another part of the city. "But I live near where they were staying. I've been helping them." "Sir, there's no legal connection. You're not family or a legal guardian. What if I became their guardian? The social worker eyed him skeptically. It's a complex process. Requires a home study, background checks, proof of stability. More obstacles. Michael hired a lawyer, but the custody process was long and uncertain. Meanwhile, Ashley and Emma were sent to the distant shelter. It was overcrowded. Whole families crammed into small rooms with no privacy. Food was rationed, rules were strict. Ashley sank into deep depression. After much insistence, Michael secured visitation rights. He found Emma thinner, quieter. The spark in her eyes was gone. She won't eat, Ashley whispered. She's afraid of the food here. I'll get you out of here, I promise. But his promises felt emptier by the day. The system was a bureaucratic maze. Every solution led to a new problem. Michael tried renting an apartment in Ashley's name, but without proper ID, it was impossible. He considered putting it in his own name for them to live there, but his lawyer warned that could be seen as exploitation. A rich man housing a vulnerable woman and her child. It might make things worse. Frustration grew. Michael, used to solving problems with money and influence, was learning some barriers couldn't be crossed. At the shelter, things worsened. Emma had stopped speaking again, a setback in her development. Ashley fought constantly with other residents, paranoid they'd steal the little she had. One day, arriving for a visit, Michael found chaos. Ashley had attacked another resident who tried to give Emma food. "She was trying to poison my daughter," Ashley screamed. "Ashley, no one wants to hurt Emma," Michael pleaded. "You don't understand. You'll never understand." The shelter administration gave an ultimatum: control her behavior, or they'd be expelled. But how could she control the paranoia and trauma from months on the streets? Michael tried to get Ashley psychological help, but the Medicaid waiting list was months long. He offered to pay for private care, but Ashley refused to speak with doctors who want to lock me up and steal my daughter. On a rainy afternoon, Michael received a desperate call. Ashley had run away from the shelter with Emma. They'd been missing for 2 days. He combed the streets, returned to the places they used to stay. Nothing. Ray didn't know their whereabouts either. "She got scared," Ray said. "She heard childy. Protective Services was going to review her case. But that's standard procedure. For you, it's standard. For her, it's a threat of losing her child." The days that followed were filled with agonizing searches. Michael barely slept, blaming himself for making things worse. His desire to help had only created more problems. Finally, a call from the hospital. A woman and a child had been admitted. The child was dehydrated and malnourished. Michael rushed to the hospital. He found Emma on a gurney, small and fragile, an IV in her thin little arm. Ashley was beside her, holding her hand and crying. "Forgive me," she sobbed when she saw Michael. "I ruined everything." "No, Ashley, the system is cruel." The doctor called Michael aside to speak privately. "The situation is serious. The child has severe malnutrition. We'll need to admit her for a few days. Do whatever's necessary. There's another issue. We'll have to notify Child Protective Services. It's protocol in cases like this." Ashley's worst fear was coming true. When she found out, she panicked. "No, they'll take her from me." "Ashley, calm down," Michael pleaded. "I'll hire the best lawyers." "Lawyers won't help. They always take them. Always." Things grew even more complicated when they discovered Ashley also needed hospitalization. She had tuberculosis, likely contracted during her months on the streets. "She needs isolation and treatment," the doctor explained. "What about Emma?" "She'll have to remain under observation. After that, well, Child Protective Services will decide." It was the most dreaded outcome. Mother and child separated, Emma possibly sent for adoption. Michael felt the weight of failure. "Doctor, what if I took responsibility? I have the means. I can care for her." "It's not that simple. There's a legal process." Michael practically moved into the hospital, splitting his time between Emma's room and Ashley's isolation unit. The little girl slowly began to recover physically, but her emotional trauma was clear. She cried, constantly calling for her mother. The hearing with Child Protective Services was scheduled. Michael hired a team of lawyers, prepared documentation, gathered favorable medical reports. But Ashley, still in treatment, couldn't attend. The mother's physical and mental health currently prevents her from fulfilling maternal duties, the caseworker read. But it's temporary, Michael's lawyer argued. With proper treatment, she'll recover. We must consider the child's best interests. A 3-year-old girl eating scraps on the street. Michael heard the judgment in those words. How could he explain that Ashley had done her best, that the love between mother and child was real despite their circumstances? I propose temporary custody, the lawyer continued. My client, Michael Thompson, is exceptionally capable of providing for the child while the mother recovers. Do you have family, Mr. Thompson? A wife? Children? I'm single. The caseworkers exchanged glances. A single man wanting custody of a little girl with no blood ties raised suspicions. We'll need a full social study, psychological evaluation, background check, more red tape. Meanwhile, Emma remained in the hospital, soon to be transferred to a foster home. Michael visited her every day. The girl had grown attached to him, calling him Uncle Mike. But each day away from her mother left her more withdrawn. Did Mommy leave? She'd ask with sad little eyes. No, sweetheart, Mommy's sick, but she'll get better. Did I do something bad? Is that why Mommy left? Michael Thompson's heart was breaking. How do you explain all that complexity to a 3-year-old? Ashley, in her isolation, was wasting away with worry. Michael managed to get approval for supervised video calls. Emma, my love, Ashley cried when she saw her daughter on the screen. Mommy, come get me. Soon, my love, Mommy will get better and we'll be together. But soon stretched on. The tuberculosis treatment took months. Ashley's psychological evaluation revealed post-traumatic stress disorder, severe depression and anxiety. She would need long-term care. The investigation into Michael also dragged on. They visited his home, interviewed employees, scrutinized his finances. Any rich boy interested in a poor child was viewed with suspicion. It's humiliating, Michael vented to his lawyer. I'm just trying to help. I know, but they have to be sure. There are too many exploitation cases. One day, Michael arrived at the hospital and Emma was gone. She'd been transferred overnight to a children's shelter. Why wasn't I notified? Court orders, the child had been in the hospital too long. The shelter was in another city in the metropolitan area. Michael needed a judge's permission to visit. When he finally got there, he found Emma unrecognizable. Her curls had been cut, and she was dressed like all the other children. She barely reacted when she saw him. Emma, it's me, Uncle Mike. The girl stared blankly, then went back to mechanically stacking blocks. It's normal, the caregiver said. They adapt. It's better this way. Better? Michael saw. A broken, robotic child. Where was the girl who, even eating scraps, had life in her eyes? The visits became torture. Emma growing more distant, Ashley more desperate. The system meant to protect was destroying a family. Michael doubled down on legal efforts. He hired private social workers, psychologists, prepared every possible document. But he kept hitting the same question. What was his real interest in this child? I'll be frank, one evaluator said. A man in your position, single, no kid, why not adopt through normal channels? Why this specific girl? How could he explain the impact of that scene? The girl eating scraps had touched something. Deep in him, awakened memories of his own hard childhood. When I was 5, Michael began, my father lost his job. We went hungry, not to the point of eating scraps, but I remember the feeling. I built all this, he gestured, so I'd never feel that again. But I forgot others still do. The evaluator took notes but remained skeptical. Ashley was finally medically cleared, but psychologically shattered. Months without her daughter. The guilt, the fear, it had taken its toll. I want to give up, she told Michael during a visit. Emma deserves a better family. Don't say that, you're her mother. What mother lets her child eat scraps? What mother can't even give her a roof? A mother who did her best in impossible circumstances. But Ashley was broken. The system had succeeded where the streets failed, destroying her self-worth as a mother. The final hearing approached. Michael had gotten temporary custody, but Ashley had to prove she could resume maternal care. She was listless, barely able to speak during lawyer prep. Ashley, you have to fight, Michael begged. Why? They've already decided. They always decide beforehand. On the day of the hearing, Ashley arrived clean, wearing clothes Michael had bought, but her eyes were empty. Emma was brought from the shelter. Seeing her mother, the girl, apathetic for months, ran, "Mommy, Mommy!" Ashley collapsed in, tears holding her daughter. Emma clung to her as if fearing another separation. "Don't leave me, Mommy, promise." "Never again, my love, never again." The scene moved even the most hardened onlookers. The judge, a stern woman, discreetly wiped her eyes. "I see here a complex case," she began. "On one hand, severe neglect, a child eating dog food. On the other, undeniable love between mother and daughter." Michael held his breath. Considering the medical, psychological, and social reports, the judge paused dramatically. Ashley clung to Emma, who had fallen asleep in her arms after months of insomnia in the shelter. "I grant temporary shared custody. The child will remain under the care of Mr. Michael Thompson, with the mother granted progressive visitation rights contingent upon psychological treatment and social reintegration." It was a partial victory. Emma wouldn't be adopted by strangers, but she also wouldn't return fully to Ashley. The following months were a slow process of rebuilding. Michael rented a small apartment near his own, where Ashley could stay. But she resisted. "I'm not his maid," she told the social worker. "No one's saying that," Michael tried to explain. "It's just until you get back on your feet." And then, when you get tired of playing the hero? Distrust ran deep. Every offer of help was met with suspicion. Ashley attended visits with Emma, but her relationship with Michael remained tense. Emma, meanwhile, was torn. She loved her mother, but had grown accustomed to the comfort of Michael's home. She had her own room, toys, food, always available. "I want to stay with Mommy," she'd say. "Soon, sweetheart," Michael would reply. "When Mommy's better." But better was a relative concept. Ashley found work as a cleaning assistant, but her wages barely covered the basics. The apartment Michael offered felt like charity. Pride and need waged a constant battle. One day Ashley disappeared again. She left a note. "Take good care of her, it's better this way." Michael panicked. Emma cried for her mother constantly. How could he explain yet another abandonment? Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us newcomers a lot. Now, continuing. Ray was the one who found Ashley. She was at the bus station, ready to vanish. "You're really going to abandon the girl?" "It's not abandonment, it's love. She's better off without me." "Nonsense, that girl needs her mother." "What mother? Look what I did to her." Ray, with his street wisdom, sat beside her. "You know the difference between you and a lot of mothers out there. You never left her alone. Even in the worst situation, you were there. That's real love." Ashley came back, but her emotional instability lingered. Michael tried to balance help with respect for her autonomy, but it was a rocky road. The social worker suggested family therapy. In the sessions, painful truths surfaced. "You're taking my place as her mother," Ashley accused Michael. "Emma likes you more now." "That's not true. She loves you. But she'd rather live with you, with the toys, the good food." The therapist intervened, trying to mediate. But how could such different worlds be reconciled? Emma, caught in the crossfire, developed behavioral issues. One moment she clung to Ashley. The next she pushed her away. She had nightmares, started wetting the bed again. "It's a trauma response," the child psychologist explained. "She needs stability." But what stability? The mother she loved, but who couldn't provide. The uncle who provided but wasn't family. Michael began questioning his own motives. Was it really altruism, or was there a need for control? The line between helping and dominating was thin. In one particularly difficult session, Ashley exploded. "You want me to be grateful, don't you? The poor wretch saved by the kind rich boy." "That's not..." "Yes, it is. You'll never understand. You've never been through what I have." Michael stayed silent. It was true, no matter how hard his childhood had been, it had never reached the depths of Ashley's. "You're right," he admitted. "I don't fully understand, but I want to learn." It was a subtle turning point. acknowledging the limits of his own understanding, opened space for more honest dialogue. Ashley began sharing more, the cold nights when she hugged Emma to keep warm, the constant fear of violence, the humiliation of digging through trash for food. The dog food, she swallowed hard. I tasted it first to make sure it wouldn't hurt her. Michael felt a lump in his throat. A mother's sacrifice transcended any judgment. Gradually, they established a more balanced routine. Ashley spent days with Emma, while Michael cared for her when Ashley worked. It wasn't ideal, but it worked. Emma started attending daycare. At first, she cried terribly at the separation. Later, she made little friends and began to thrive. She's talking. More, the teacher observed, very bright. Small victories were celebrated. Emma learning letters, Ashley keeping her job, Michael learning not to control everything. But obstacles remained. Ashley's wages barely covered transportation and food. The dream of owning a home seemed impossible. Let me help, Michael offered. I can cover part of the rent. No, I need to do this on my own. Pride, her last defense against complete demoralization, was both a blessing and a curse. One day, Ashley arrived in tears. She'd been fired. The company was cutting costs. Now I'll lose Emma for sure, she despaired. Without a job, the judge... Calm down. We'll figure it out. But how? The job market was tough. Ashley had no qualifications, and the stigma of having lived on the streets weighed on her, even unspoken. Michael called in favors, securing interviews. But Ashley froze, stammered, broke into cold sweats. The trauma of constant judgment paralyzed her. I can't do this, she admitted after another rejection. They look at me and know I'm a failure. You're not a failure. You're a survivor. Nice words, but they didn't pay the bills. The court review date loomed. Without a job, Ashley could lose custody of Emma. That's when Michael had an idea. His company had a social inclusion program, one they'd never truly implemented. I want to hire Ashley, he announced at the board meeting. Michael, with all due respect, the VP said, mixing personal matters with business. This isn't personal. It's a chance to make the program actually work. There was resistance. Some questioned Ashley's capability. Others feared favoritism. She'll have to prove herself like any employee, Michael assured them. No special treatment. Ashley was torn when she heard. Accepting meant admitting dependence on Michael. Refusing could cost her Emma. Do it for her, Michael argued. Not for me or for you, for Emma. Maternal love won over pride. Ashley agreed, but set conditions. I want to start at the bottom, no special treatment. Agreed. Ashley began in cleaning, the same work as before, but now with a proper contract, benefits, and formal dignity. The first months were hard. Other employees eyed her curiously, some with veiled disdain. The boss's pet had to prove herself twice over. Ashley worked obsessively, first in, last out. Every hallway gleamed, every window was spotless. You're working yourself to death, the supervisor noted. I need to show I deserve this. You already have, you can ease up a little. But easing up was a luxury Ashley wouldn't allow. Every day was proof she deserved Emma back completely. Emma, meanwhile, flourished. Stability, however imperfect, let her grow. She learned quickly, laughed more, had fewer nightmares. At the EE court review, the progress was clear. Ashley employed in therapy, Emma well cared for and thriving. I see significant improvement, the judge said, but I'll keep shared custody for another 6 months. It was both victory and defeat, progress, but still under state surveillance. When will I get to be her real mother again? Ashley cried after the hearing. You never stopped being her mother, Michael comforted her. We're just doing things their way. Their way meant an endless bureaucratic ordeal. Reports, social worker visits, constant proof of suitability. One day, Emma drew a picture at school. She showed 3 figures holding hands, herself, Ashley, and Michael. My family, she explained proudly. The teacher was confused. Who was the father? Why didn't the mother live with them? Emma couldn't explain the complexity of her situation. It's complicated, Michael said at the parent-teacher meeting. Complicated for the child, the coordinator retorted. She needs clear structure. More judgment, as if they had chosen this arrangement on a whim. Ashley started night classes. Michael offered to pay for a vocational course. It's an investment in both your futures. Another debt to you? It's not a debt, it's... He searched for words. It's what family does. The word hung in the air. Family. Was that what they were? A temporary arrangement born from tragedy, or something deeper taking shape? Emma had no doubts. To her, they were an unusual but real family. Uncle Michael, who told stories, Mama, who sang her to sleep, the two of them who sometimes argued but always took care of her. The vocational course was in business administration. Ashley discovered a knack for numbers and organization. High grades made up for years of lost schooling. You're brilliant, the teacher said. Have you thought about college? College, for someone who had once eaten garbage to survive, it seemed like an impossible dream. Maybe someday, Ashley replied, but the seed was planted. At work, Ashley's dedication stood out. She was promoted to administrative assistant. A small step, but meaningful. You earned it, Michael said when he heard. I don't want people thinking it's because of you. No one thinks that. You did this yourself. Their relationship had shifted from distrust to mutual respect. There were still tensions, but also growing understanding. One night, Emma ran a high fever. Michael and Ashley took turns caring for her, their shared worry bridging formalities. Remember when she got sick on the streets? Ashley recalled. I prayed to any god who'd listen. And one did. Sent you? She gave a weak smile. God has a strange sense of humor. They shared a tired laugh. Moments like these built bridges over the chasm of their social differences. Emma recovered, but the episode left its mark. The fragility of life, the precious nature of their imperfect but functional arrangement. I want to legally adopt Emma, Michael said suddenly. Ashley froze. What? Not to take her from you, he hurried to explain. Joint adoption to give her legal security. She has a mother. I know, but if something happens to me, what then? If you need medical authorization when I'm not there? They were practical concerns, but they touched Ashley's deepest fears. I'll think about it, was all she could say. Thinking meant sleepless nights. Would accepting mean admitting she wasn't enough on her own? Or would it secure a better future for Emma? She talked to her therapist, to Ray, who still visited, to her own conscience. A mother isn't just who gives birth, Ray mused. It's who cares, who wants what's best. But she's mine, and she always will be. She'll just have extra protection. The decision came from Emma indirectly. One day at the park, the girl fell off the swing. Nothing serious, but she needed stitches. At the hospital, bureaucracy. Are you the mother? Yes. And you? I'm her legal guardian. We need authorization from both. For the procedure, forms, signatures, wasted time while Emma cried. In that moment, Ashley saw the value of Michael's proposal. All right, she said later, let's do it. For Emma. The joint adoption process was complex and rare. Lawyers researched precedents. Judges questioned motives. It's an unusual arrangement, said a legal consultant. Our whole situation is unusual, Michael replied. Months of paperwork, interviews, evaluations. This time Ashley was prepared. No longer the broken woman from before, but a mother determined to secure the best. During the process, life went on. Emma started preschool, made her first best friend, learned to ride a bike. Small everyday miracles that once seemed impossible when she was eating scraps on the sidewalk. Ashley got promoted again, finished a technical course, was seriously considering college. The impossible becoming plausible. I'm proud of you, Michael said when she told him about her college application. You don't have to stay. I'm not doing this for you. I know. That's why my pride is genuine. The adoption approval came on a rainy October day. An official document declaring that Emma now legally had two guardians, a birth mother and an adoptive father. How do I explain this to her? Ashley asked. With honesty, Michael suggested. that her life started hard, but so many people love her. They celebrated quietly. Dinner at home, a cake Emma helped. Bake bedtime stories with both of them present. "You're my two favorite grown-ups," Emma declared sleepily. The arrangement remained unconventional. Ashley in her apartment fighting for independence. Michael in his penthouse learning the limits of helping. Emma between two worlds, a living bridge connecting them. But it worked. Not perfect, not like those margarine commercial families. Real with rough edges and challenges, but also with genuine love born from an unlikely meeting on a sidewalk. Ashley passed her college entrance exam, a full scholarship for merit and social need. She cried when she got the results. "I'm going to be someone," she whispered. "Emma will be proud." "She already is," Michael assured her. Emma's preschool graduation was an event. Ashley and Michael in the audience, ignoring curious glances at their dynamic. Emma, on the makeshift stage, searched for them with her eyes, waved excitedly, her two worlds present for an important moment. "Mommy, Uncle Mike, are you watching?" They were watching. A girl who overcame an unlikely beginning, thriving against all odds, the everyday miracle of persistent love. That night, Ashley allowed herself a moment of peace. A humble but dignified apartment, her daughter sleeping safely, a future full of possibilities a long way from the sidewalk. "We did it," she murmured to Emma's photo on the wall. Not the end of the journey, but an important milestone. An unconventional family, forged in adversity, proving that love transcends conventions. Michael, in his penthouse, had similar thoughts. Life had changed since that fateful day. Not as he'd planned, but as it needed to be. In Emma's room, between two worlds, the girl slept hugging a bear Ray had given her. Her dreams no longer filled with hunger and fear, but with endless possibilities, made real by the stubborn love of imperfect adults. Ashley woke to the alarm at 5 in the morning like every day. Night classes meant waking even earlier to get everything in order. She made coffee, checked Emma's backpack, ironed uniforms. The routine was grueling. Work from 8 to 5, pick up Emma from school, a quick dinner, leave her with Michael, then rush to college. But every day conquered was a victory against the statistics that had once condemned her to failure. "Mommy tired?" Emma asked over breakfast. "A little, but happy." "Why?" "Because I'm building a better future for us both." Emma didn't fully understand, but she hugged her mother. Actions spoke louder than words. At work, Ashley faced new challenges. Promoted to HR assistant, she dealt with subtle prejudice. "She's only here because of the boss," she overheard in the break room. It stung, but she used it as fuel. Every flawless report, every streamlined process was her silent reply. Michael, meanwhile, navigated his own complexities. His partners questioned his involvement. "You're spending too much time on this, Michael." "And the focus on the company?" "My focus is just fine. In fact, the inclusion program has been getting positive feedback for our image." "It's not just about image. No, it's about doing the right thing." Tense conversations repeated themselves. Some saw altruism as weakness, a distraction from serious business. Emma, oblivious to adult tensions, thrived. At school, she excelled. In English and arts, colorful drawings decorated the refrigerators of 2 homes. "She has talent," the teacher said. "Have you considered extra classes?" Ashley and Michael exchanged glances. Joint decisions were still delicate territory. "We'll talk," Ashley replied diplomatically. Talk meant careful negotiation. Who would pay? Where would the classes be? How could they avoid overwhelming Emma? "I can cover it," Michael offered. "We'll split it," Ashley insisted, "even if my share is smaller." Pride and pragmatism in an endless dance. They reached an agreement. Michael would pay 70%, Ashley 30%. Symbolic, but important for her independence. The art classes revealed a new Emma. The girl who barely spoke at the shelter now expressed inner worlds in vibrant colors. One particular drawing stood out, a 2-story house separate but connected by a colorful bridge. Below, written in shaky letters, "My home." "Interesting perspective," the art teacher remarked. "She said she lives in 2 places, but it's one home." Childlike wisdom capturing what adults complicated. 2 homes, 1 family. Ashley's first year of college was challenging. Piled up coursework, a weak educational foundation, constant exhaustion. There were nights she thought of quitting. "I can't do this," she sobbed after failing a math test. "It's too hard." "Yes, you can," Michael encouraged. "Want help? I can get you a tutor." "No, I need to..." She stopped, took a breath. "Okay, I'll accept help." For Emma, learning to accept help without feeling diminished was a long process. Every yes to assistance was a small death of pride, but a birth of wisdom. The tutor was a graduate student, Brian. Young, patient, non-judgmental. Ashley relaxed, learned, passed her retake. "You're smart," Brian said. "You just had fewer opportunities." "Thank you," Ashley blushed. "I'm not used to compliments about intelligence." "Well, you should be. You have huge potential." Something shifted. Ashley began to see herself beyond the mother who failed. So a student, a professional, a woman with a future. Michael noticed the change. Ashley more confident, smiling more, discussing college ideas with enthusiasm. "You're different," he observed. "Good different. Great different." A suspended moment. The boundary between co-parents and something more. But both stepped back. Complicating a working arrangement would be irresponsible. Emma turned 7. The party marked how far they'd come. No longer the girl eating scraps, but a child surrounded by love and possibilities. "I want a big party," she declared, "with all my friends." All meant an eclectic mix. Classmates from the private school Michael paid for, children of Ashley's co-workers, even Ray, and a few friends from her street days. "This'll be interesting," Ashley murmured to Michael as they planned. "Interesting. Is good?" He smiled. The party was held in the lobby of Michael's building. Wealthy classmates' parents cast curious glances, but Emma's radiance united everyone. "Your daughter is adorable," one mother told Ashley. "What are you studying? In college?" "Business, working and studying." "Wow, such determination." Ashley didn't mention scraps, the streets, or desperation. Some stories didn't need sharing with strangers. Ray arrived with a gift wrapped in newspaper, a handmade cloth doll from a seamstress in his community. "It's simple," he apologized. "It's perfect." Emma hugged it. "I'll name her Hope." Michael and Ashley exchanged an emotional glance, a child who kept her purity despite everything. The party ended, but the celebration lingered. They had built something unlikely yet solid. The other night, Ashley was studying for her final exams when her phone rang. Michael, his voice strange. "Ashley, I need to talk to you. Can you come?" "Over? Is Emma okay?" "She's sleeping. It's about something else." Worried, she went to his apartment. She found him on the balcony, looking out at the city. What's wrong?" "I got an offer. To sell my share of the company, an offer I can't refuse." "And?" "It's conditional on me relocating. They want me to take over operations in London." Ashley's world stopped. London? Michael gone? What would happen to their arrangement? When? "I'd have 6 months to organize the move." "What about Emma?" "That's why I called you. We need to decide together." Ashley sat down, her legs weak. Just as life was starting to stabilize, another earthquake. "Do you want to go?" "Part of me does. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, but Emma, you, everything we've built, we're not your responsibility." "It's not about responsibility," frustration in his voice. "It's about family." The word hung between them. Family. That's what they were, but what kind exactly? "I need to think," Ashley said, standing up. "This is a lot to take in." "Of course, we have time." But time flew when life-changing decisions loomed. Ashley spent sleepless nights. Without Michael, how would she manage everything? But what right did she have to hold him back? Emma sensed the tension. "Mommy sad?" "No, sweetheart. Just thinking. Is it because Uncle Mike is going away?" Kids and their sharp intuition. "How do you know that?" "I heard him on the phone. Is he gonna leave me like Daddy?" Ashley's heart ached. How could she explain adult complexities to a child already marked by abandonment? Uncle Mike would never leave you. Even far away, he'd still love you. But it's not the same. No, it wasn't. Presence mattered. Years of building. Emotional security could crumble with absence. Michael was struggling too. Career versus love. His mind said to accept. His heart resisted. They talked again, this time with Emma present. Transparency. No decisions in the shadows. Emma, remember how Uncle Mike works a lot? Yeah. He got offered a new job really far away. How far? Another country, England. Emma processed the information with the seriousness of a miniature adult. But he's... My heart, Daddy. Daddies don't leave. Michael swallowed hard. Sometimes adults have to make hard choices. Then don't make this one, she said with devastating simplicity. Ashley stepped in. Emma, it's not that simple. Yes, it is. If you love someone, you stay close. If you leave, you don't really love them. Child logic, cruel in its purity. Michael and Ashley exchanged glances. Lost. Days passed. In limbo. Michael delayed his answer. Ashley pretended everything was normal. Emma vacillated between clinging to them both and throwing tantrums. It was Brian, the tutor, who offered an unexpected perspective. Sorry to butt in, he said, after a study session, but you three seem tense. Too exhausted to keep up appearances, Ashley explained the situation. Complicated, Brian agreed, but why does it have to be either or? What do you mean? Why does Michael leaving mean the end of everything? There are flights, video calls, vacations. It's not the same. No, but maybe it's necessary growth. You've built a strong foundation. Maybe it's time to test if it can withstand distance. Ashley reflected. They'd overcome so much. Could physical distance really be insurmountable? She shared her thoughts with Michael. Brian's partly right, Michael said, but I don't know if Emma's ready. Maybe she never will. But we can't live in fear either. Are you saying I should go? I'm saying we should consider all options. They discussed possible arrangements. Michael would visit monthly, take vacations together. Emma could spend summers in London when she was older. It's doable, Michael admitted. But, I'll miss you, both of you. Every day. The admission hung between them. Ashley's heart raced. We'll miss you too. They decided to involve Emma in the planning instead of imposing a decision. They showed her London on maps, talked about airplanes, technology too. Talk every day. Can I visit? Emma asked. Of course, during vacation. And will he be back for my birthday? Always. Emma considered with the gravity of a judge. Okay, but you have to promise to call every day. I promise. Pinky promise? Pinky promise. A childish ritual sealing a complex agreement. Not ideal, but possible. Preparations began. 6 months seemed both long and short at the same time. Documentation for Emma to travel, organizing support for Ashley, 1,000 adjustments. I'll open a joint account, Michael said, for emergencies. Michael, it's not charity, it's security for Emma. Ashley accepted. Pride gave way to maternal pragmatism. The farewell approached inexorably. The last week was intense. Trips to Emma's favorite places, dinners together, creating memories to sustain the absence. On the last night, Emma slept between them on the couch, a forgotten movie playing on the TV. Ashley and Michael watched over her sleep. We'll be okay, Ashley whispered. I know, you're strong. We all are, we've proven that. Ashley, yes? Thank you for letting me be part of this. Thank you for not giving up on us that day. A crystallized moment. An unconventional family on the eve of a new chapter. The airport was hard. Emma clung to Michael, Ashley trying to stay strong. Remember the promise? Emma sniffled. Every day, Michael confirmed, his own eyes watery. Take care of Mommy. She's strong, but I'll keep an eye on her from across the ocean. A triple hug. A goodbye that wasn't an end, but a transformation. The flight was called. Michael waved until he disappeared. Emma cried. Ashley did too, holding her daughter. Let's go home. Our real home, just the two of us? Yes, sweetheart. Our home. Adaptation was a process. The first few days, Emma expected Michael to show up for dinner. Ashley managed her own longing while comforting her daughter. Video calls helped. Michael kept his promise, calling daily. He showed London, listened about school, participated remotely. Look, Uncle Mike, I got an A in math. Amazing. Mommy must be proud. I am. Ashley appeared on screen. She studied so hard. A new dynamic, but it worked. Physical distance was compensated by emotional presence. Ashley flourished in full responsibility. Without Michael's immediate safety net, she discovered strengths she didn't know she had. At work, she took on an important project, a presentation to the board, a proposal to expand the inclusion program. Impressive, the director remarked. You understand the reality we want to achieve. I've lived it, Ashley replied simply. A promotion came. Social responsibility coordinator. Better pay, bigger challenges. Congratulations. Michael celebrated over video, so well deserved. I learned from good examples. No, you always had this in you. You just needed the opportunity. Emma adapted to the routine. Calendar marking days until the next visit. Drawings piling up to show, stories saved to share. Michael's first visit was emotional. Emma waited at the airport with a handmade sign. Best Uncle Dad in the world. How do I look? She asked, running into his arms. Huge. What have they been feeding you? Real food. Shared laughter over a past they'd moved beyond. The weekend was intense. Catching up, reaffirming bonds, proving distance didn't diminish love. You're different, Emma observed. How so? More important, like a real boss. Michael laughed. I've always been a boss. But now you look it. Ashley noticed it too. Michael seemed more confident, polished. London had left its mark. And you? He noted. You're different too. Good different? You've always been good. Now you're radiant. Her heart skipped a beat. But the moment passed, the co-parenting routine resumed. Months turned into routine. Monthly visits, extended vacations, a life on 2 continents but 1 heart. Ashley graduated. A day of supreme pride. Emma in the front row, Michael flew in just for the occasion. I did it. Tears streamed as she received her diploma. I never doubted it, Michael said. I did, a lot, but you didn't let me give up. The photo of the 3 of us with diplomas became a treasure. An unlikely family celebrating an impossible victory. Brian showed up at the graduation. Congratulations. I knew you could do it. Thank you for everything. I wouldn't have passed calculus without you. Oh, come on, I just showed you the way. You walked it. There was an awkward moment. Brian seemed to want to say something more, Michael watching the interaction, Ashley oblivious to the undercurrents. Well, good luck with your career, Brian said, his goodbye a little abrupt. Later, Michael commented, he likes you. Brian, no, we're friends. Ashley, a man doesn't look at a friend that way. What way? Never mind, but the seed was planted. Ashley started noticing. Brian sent messages, suggested coffee, always available. I can't, she said when he finally asked her out to a romantic dinner. It's complicated. Because of Michael? No, I mean, it's about Emma. My life is messy. I understand messy. I don't mind. Ashley was tempted. Brian was a good man. Close in age, they shared a history of overcoming struggles. But her heart whispered other truths, inevitable comparisons to the man across the ocean. I need time, she asked. Of course, I'll be here. She told Michael in their next call, leaving out Brian's invitation. How's your social life, he asked, too casually. Fine, work, Emma, studying. That's it, a young, beautiful, smart woman like you. Michael, sorry, it's none of my business, but it was, both knew it was. Years of building a family had blurred the lines. Emma, sharp as ever, picked up on the tension. Mom, do you like Uncle Brian? Of course, he's a friend. But like? Where did you get that idea? He looks at you the way Uncle Mike does. Kids and their inconvenient truths. It's not the same. Why? How could she explain that the heart doesn't follow logic? that years of shared care had created bonds beyond simple definitions. Christmas was approaching. Michael confirmed his visit. Emma counted the days. Ashley prepared the apartment, wanting everything perfect. "It's just Michael," she told herself, rearranging things for the third time. But it wasn't just Michael. It was the man who had changed their lives, who saw beyond the broken woman on the street, who built a bridge to a better future. He arrived with gifts and a tired smile from the long flight. "Home, sweet home," he sighed as he stepped in. "This isn't your home," Ashley reminded him, though her tone was playful. "It's where you are, that counts." Christmas was magical. A modest tree decorated with love, dinner prepared together, Emma beaming between her two favorite adults. "Make a wish," Michael said as they brought out the cake. Emma closed her eyes, focused, blew out the candles with determination. "What did you wish for?" Ashley asked. "I can't tell, or it won't come true." Later, with Emma asleep, the adults sat on the small balcony with glasses of wine. "She's amazing," Michael observed. "You've done a wonderful job." "We have. I couldn't have done it without you." "Yes, you could. You're stronger than you think." "I learned to be. Necessity is a great teacher." A comfortable silence. The city glittered beyond, life moving on while they existed in a bubble of peace. "Brian asked me out," Ashley blurted suddenly. Michael tensed. "And?" "I said I needed to think." "He's a good guy, yeah. He'd be good for you, someone present, building something, normal." "Normal," Ashley tested the word. "Nothing in my life has ever been normal. Why start now?" Emma deserves stability. Emma has stability. She has two adults who love her unconditionally. But she could have a traditional family. Mom and dad together, maybe siblings. Is that what you want? For me to marry Brian, have more kids, pretend you're just... What? A distant uncle who visits sometimes? "No!" The outburst surprised them both. "I mean, I want you to be happy." "And you? Are you happy in London?" Michael took a long time to answer. "It's lonely. Professional success, a nice apartment, but empty." "Then come back." "It's not that simple." "Why?" "If you're unhappy, change it. That's what you taught me. Contracts, commitments, expectations, excuses." The raw truth hung in the air, both trapped in lives they'd built but didn't necessarily want. "If I came back," Michael began carefully, "what would change?" "Everything." "Nothing, I don't know." "Ashley, no, Michael, don't complicate it. We have an arrangement that works." "Works?" "Emma is happy, safe, that's what matters. And us? We're adults, we make sacrifices." Michael accepted the redirection, but the question lingered between them. The rest of the visit passed too quickly. The goodbye at the airport was even harder. "I don't want you to go," Emma whined. "I don't want to go either." "Then stay." "Soon, sweetheart, I promise, soon." Ashley avoided Michael's gaze. Vague promises were dangerous. January brought routine and decisions. Brian started insisting again, gently but persistently. "At least have coffee," he asked, "as friends." Ashley gave in. Coffee turned into a long conversation, easy laughter. Brian was good company. "See? You didn't die from going out a little," he teased. "I don't usually have time for myself. You should, you deserve it." It was true, years focused on survival, then on Emma. She'd forgotten herself as a woman, not just a mother. They started going out occasionally, movies when Emma slept. Over at a friend's, quick lunches, walks in the park. "I'm enjoying getting to know you better," Brian said one day. "Me too." But there was always a shadow. Inevitable comparisons. A strange guilt as if betraying someone. Michael noticed the change in their calls. Ashley more distant, Emma mentioning Uncle Brian often. "Has he been good with Emma?" he asked, trying to sound casual. "Very. Patient, kind, she likes him. Great, good to have positive male figures." "Yes?" The conversation was stilted, the unspoken heavier than words. In London, Michael re-evaluated his choices. Professional success lost its shine without someone to share it with. "You're distracted," his British boss observed. Sorry, personal matters. The American family you mentioned. Yes, hard to be away from those we love. A simple observation, but Michael felt its weight. We love. Admitting it changed everything. He called Ashley outside their usual time. Did something happen? She answered, worried. No, yes, I need to say something. Michael, listen, I know we have an arrangement, that it works, that Emma is fine, but I'm not. What do you mean? I'm miserable here. I wake up thinking of you, I fall asleep dreaming of you. This isn't living. A long silence, Ashley's heart pounded. What are you proposing? Coming back, but not like before. No more pretending we're just co-parents for Emma. Michael, please, you feel it too, I know you do. All these years we've built something bigger than a practical arrangement. What if we ruin everything? Emma already sees us as family. We're the ones complicating it. Ashley cried silently, suppressed truths rising. I'm scared, she admitted. Me too, but more scared of wasting the chance to be truly happy. And Brian, he's a good man, but is he the one you want by your side? The vital question. Ashley closed her eyes, allowing herself honesty. No, a whisper. It was never him. Then let me come back, for real this time. I need to think, talk to Emma. Of course, but Ashley, I love you. I think since the day I saw you protecting Emma even at rock bottom. The call ended. Ashley hugged her knees, crying. Fear and hope at war. She talked to Emma days later, careful. Sweetheart, how would you feel if Uncle Mike came back to live in the United States, really? Her eyes shone. Forever. Maybe, but it'd be different. Different how? He'd live closer. We'd see him every day. Like a real family? We are a real family, but even more. Emma jumped excitedly. Yes, I want that. When is he coming back? A child's simplicity cutting through knots adults had tied. Ashley called Michael. That night. Emma approves, he said without preamble. And you? Terrified. But yes, come home. Home. Michael savored the word. I like the sound of that. Plans accelerated. Michael negotiated his exit, transferring operations. 2 months to organize a permanent return. Ashley broke up with Brian gently. It's Michael, isn't it? Brian asked resignedly. It always was, she admitted. I'm sorry. Don't be. The heart wants what it wants. I hope you're happy. Thank you for everything. Take good care of her. Emma deserves a complete family. Preparations were frantic. Where would Michael live? How would they organize their routine? 1,000 practical details masking real emotion. I'll rent an apartment in the same building, Michael suggested. Or, Ashley took a deep breath. How about we look for a house, together? A milestone crossed. No more parallel lives, but intertwined ones. They searched on weekends via video calls. Emma had strong opinions. It needs a backyard for a dog. We haven't talked about a dog, Ashley reminded her, but families have dogs. Irrefutable child logic. The list grew. Backyard, space for Michael's home office near a good school. They found the perfect house in a family-friendly neighborhood. 3 bedrooms, a spacious backyard, a big kitchen for shared meals. It's expensive, Ashley worried. It's an investment in us. Moving day arrived. Michael returned with suitcases and a full heart. Emma waited at the airport with a new sign. Welcome home forever. The hug was different, no longer an imminent goodbye, but a beginning. Ready for real life? Ashley asked in the car. Never been readier. The empty house waited. The moving truck would arrive the next day. That night, they slept on the floor in sleeping bags, Emma between them. Tell me a story, she murmured sleepily. What story? Michael asked. Ours, how we became a family, Ashley began. Once upon a time, there was a very special girl who went through hard times. But she had a brave mother who protected her, Michael continued. And she met a kind uncle who saw beyond appearances, Ashley added. Then what? Emma asked. Then they discovered love comes in many forms, and family is who we choose to love. I like it, Emma yawned. But you forgot the dog. soft laughter, a promise to add the dog to their real story soon. The first breakfast in the new house was a milestone. The kitchen was still disorganized, boxes everywhere, but they were together. "Proposal," Michael said. "Let's do this right this time. No fears, no reservations." "I agree." Ashley held his hand. "But slowly. Emma needs to adjust. Of course, at her pace. Our pace." Emma watched their interaction with a knowing smile. "Are you going to get married?" The adults choked on their coffee. "Why do you ask?" Ashley recovered. "Sophia from school said when adults move in together, they get married." "Well," Michael glanced at Ashley. "One day, maybe, if your mum wants to." "I do," Emma decided for her. "But it can be a small wedding. I don't like crowds." More laughter. A child organizing the adults' lives with executive efficiency. The adjustment was surprisingly smooth. Years of long-distance coordination had created a rhythm, now just less space between them. Michael set up a home office, allowing flexibility. Ashley continued her work, now as a social projects manager. "Look at us," she said one day, watching Michael cook while Emma did homework. "Who would have thought?" "I would have," Michael replied. "Always knew we'd get here, just didn't know the path." Ray visited, approving the arrangement. "Turned into a little bourgeois," he teased Ashley. "Never, roots don't fade." "Good. Emma needs to remember where she came from. It gives strength." An important truth. They told Emma their story with age-appropriate honesty. Hard times had existed, but were overcome with love and determination. The dog arrived on Emma's 8th birthday, a rescued mutt named Hope. Like the doll, Emma remembered. The circle was complete. Ray's rag doll, a name carried on by a new family member. The marriage came naturally, no grand event, just an intimate celebration. Emma, the proud florist, Ray, the unlikely best man, and Brian present, offering sincere well wishes. "Promise to love me even when I'm being difficult?" Ashley asked during the vows. "Especially when you're being difficult," Michael replied. "Promise to remind me what matters when I get lost in work?" "Always." "I promise too," Emma interrupted. "I promise to be a good daughter." "You already are perfect," they said in unison. The kiss sealed not just a union, but the unlikely journey of 3 souls who found each other in their darkest hour and built light together. Years passed. Emma grew up strong, secure, loved. She never forgot her roots, but wasn't defined by others. "Mum, why did you keep this?" she asked one day, finding a metal bowl at the back of the closet. Ashley held the object, memories flooding in. "To remember where we came from, how far we've come." It was awful, wasn't it, back then? It was. But it was also when I learned I'm stronger than I thought, and when our family began. Emma hugged her mother. A teenager now, she understood the nuances better. "Thank you for never giving up. Thank you for giving me a reason to keep going." Michael walked in, finding the mother-daughter moment. "Am I interrupting?" "No," Emma pulled him in. "We were talking about the bowl." "Ah." He looked at it with reverence. "Our beginning." "Kinda weird to keep it, huh?" Emma said. "Not everything needs to be thrown away," Michael mused. "Some things remind us of how much we can change." They ate together that night as they did whenever possible. A family forged in hardship, strengthened by choice, held together by unconditional love. Ashley looked around the table, a husband who saw beyond appearances, a daughter who survived the impossible, a dog sleeping at their feet, a life that once felt like a mirage when she was surviving on scraps. "What are you thinking about?" Michael asked. "Miracles. How they happen slowly, then all at once." "It wasn't a miracle," Emma corrected. "It was you two being too stubborn to quit." Laughter filled the house. Not a mansion, not a perfect place, but a true home, built with sweat, tears, and unshakable love. That night, Ashley peeked into Emma's room. Her daughter slept peacefully, Hope curled at the foot of the bed. She remembered the 3-year-old girl eating kibble, clinging to her homeless mother. The same child, a different universe. Michael hugged her from behind. "We made it," he whispered. "We made it," she agreed. Not a fairy tale happy ending. Real life still had challenges, arguments, hard days. But they faced them together, a family that chose to be a family against all odds. In the kitchen, the metal bowl held water for hope, past and present intertwined, a reminder that sometimes the worst moment can be the dawn of the best. Tomorrow, Emma would wake in a warm bed, eat a full breakfast, go to school without fear. Simple things extraordinary for those who've known the other side. Ashley and Michael lay holding each other, silently grateful for how far they'd come. Outside, the city slept. Somewhere, another child went hungry. The cruel cycle continued. But in that house, in that family, living proof that compassion and stubbornness can rewrite destinies. Tomorrow, Ashley would take Emma to volunteer at a community project, teaching that receiving help creates an obligation to reach out. For now, they slept in peace. Three hearts that found each other in darkness and chose to be light for one another. No grand heroics, just people doing their best with what they had. Sometimes that's enough to change everything. The end. And now, dear listener, what did you think of this touching journey? Did Ashley make the right choices? Let us know where you're watching from and share your thoughts on this story of resilience. Your likes and subscriptions make all the difference in helping our channel grow. Thank you so much for following along with us this far.